everyone's doing well. You know, haven't posted some shit in a while. I'm just gonna go straight into it. I did have a previous video, but I pressed something accidentally. So I had to restart it. Anyways, this video is gonna be about statements from DaBaby. So Rolling Loud, it looked like a really good concert. It was stacked. I did watch a lot of acts over the weekend. It was really good. You know, DaBaby did go viral or did make headlines for a couple of reasons. I'm only going to speak about one of the reasons. The reason that I'm going to talk about is the stuff where he was talking, you know, he was trying to get the crowd wild or whatever. And he said, you know, go wild or whatever. He wanted people to, you know, clap and celebrate if you're a woman who, you know, your vagina smells like water or whatever. Big up to women who apparently have good health, hygiene, and your vagina tastes like nothing or whatever, which is good, you know, that's usually a thing. Your vagina should smell like, kind of like nothing. Not water, but there, we know, right, you know. And then the second statement he made was like, if you a dude and you're not sucking dick in the parking lot. That was a very homophobic comment, and go straight into it. So obviously, you can't look at it from the perspective of him maybe speaking about open PDA, like sexuality, because he was already referring to like sexual things to begin with. So I don't know why he'd talk about that. So it wouldn't be something like, and he was specifically talking about men as opposed to like oral sex in general. And then somebody seemed to like hype onto it, like his hype man or his producer, I don't know who it was, the DJ, I don't know who it was, doesn't matter. Let's go into the reason why this is a comment. So the black community, so I'm gonna hashtag a couple people. I'm gonna hashtag T.I., I'm gonna hashtag DaBaby, and I'm gonna hashtag Hassan Campbell. And let's talk about one thing that's a big issue in the black community. The black community is a traditionally oppressed group. I've made comments in the past, or I've made posts in the past about how it is important for people of traditionally oppressed groups to come together, understanding that people becoming part of groups that are harassed or is prejudice against them for whatever reason. There may be differences in the frameworks, and some are more realistic than others, or some may quote unquote be more important than others, but either way, you're engaging in prejudice against someone, you know, for whatever reason. The black community specifically is extremely homophobic. It's disgusting. There's no like zero tolerance that the black community should have. Regarding the LGBT community, the black community is extremely socially conservative with regards to abusing black people, abusing gay black people, abusing black trans people. And the black community has made a culture out of romanticizing the abuse of gay people. I don't really get it. Some of the things that black people used to do in the past that were indicative of being homophobic, colorful clothing, short clothes, these things have changed over time. And this may not be the main thing that is important in terms of, you know, embracing change, but it seems like some of the secondary things that have been acceptable in the past that would be the equivalent of homosexuality or gay are not anymore. You know, people who are rappers now, they do wear colorful clothes. They do wear shorts above their knees. In the past, this was gay. DaBaby is unironically a rapper who, one of his videos, he's snowboarding down semen, like, and semen is sprinkling around his body when he's fucking snowboarding down a slope. It's really funny that a nigga like that is unironically making comments about not being in support of people kissing or engaging in oral sex who are men. Like, bro, like, well, you were doing it for art, which is cool, whatever. But at the same time, when it's something you can make money off of and you thought was an interesting idea, when you're just nonchalantly having a show, you can make statements about it not being acceptable. The black community is full of homophobia, as the world is full of homophobia. Let me be clear here. I'm not gay, I'm not trans, I'm not any of these things, and I don't need to be. You can be offended on behalf of people, and if you're aware of anything about any progress or improving the well-being of people in the world, you realize that people who are part of traditionally oppressed groups always come to the defense of other people in traditionally oppressed groups. If there are people in the Middle East getting fucked over, I'm not gonna say it's not my problem because I'm not from the Middle East. If Indians or Hindu or Indian Muslims were getting abused in India, I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna support them or talk about their beliefs because I'm in America. That doesn't make any sense. We're identifying things that are issues. We're having consistency with our beliefs and why they're issues and why you're engaging in prejudice or harassment of people because of certain beliefs. So I don't have to be gay or trans to defend the well-being of trans people or gay people. With so many disproportionately negative things pertaining to the LGBT community and black people, this is a form of stochastic terrorism that DaBaby is throwing forth. These are the same people who want to talk about police beating up black people, police shooting black people, the same nigga who wants to make posts and videos of shit about police and Black Lives Matter, but at the same time, and apparently your brother committing suicide while you were trying to tell people to vote and fuck the president, you're gonna run back and make a statement that seems to be contradictory to what you may be trying to advocate. There's a line of thinking that goes within the black community where it becomes like oppression Olympics. It's like, I'm black, you couldn't hide being black, you were abused. Gay, you're able to hide being gay, so it's not the same. It's similar. Yeah, there may be other ways that you can try and prevent yourself from being harassed because of this. Let's say you're trans, your gender identity, or being Jewish, but you're white, but black, you still being. There can still be different varieties and frameworks about why people are a part of a traditionally oppressed group or why they're getting harassed. But again, you're still a part of a traditionally oppressed group. The statements that DaBaby made are disgusting. They're nothing that should be laudable. And as a black person, he should be disgusted in himself, considering the fact that black people have been abused in many ways just like gay people. The community is extremely transphobic when unironically niggas have no problems with black people in skirts who are shamans. When there have been trans people for thousands of years, dating back to Angola over 1,000 years. It's quite disgusting when you see some of these people who want to be activists or want to talk about how they're doing good for the community. And I had just made a video about this nigga and some of the lessons he may be trying to instill in the new generation about a work ethic and stuff. But in the same breath, a week later, this nigga's talking about how, he has an issue with homosexuality. You're a fucking, it's hypocritical. If you are part of a traditionally oppressed group, you have to have a clear reason, or you have to have some principle that you stand behind to justify why and argue on that principle, stand on that principle, and to select for that principle to prevent there being some inconsistencies in your idea, right? You can't be, this is why, like, women have come together when it comes to, like, feminism and Black Lives Matter and all these other things, and why, Israelis who are harassed or Jews who are getting harassed, they don't want the harassment of Palestinians, right? They've been parts of traditionally oppressed groups in the past, so the good Jewish people, who are not pieces of fucking garbage and they're not Zionists, are going to be people who advocate for the freedom of Palestinians. You see the consistency here? If you're someone who's a Palestinian, you're most likely gonna, or, Jewish who does not support the state of Israel, you're probably gonna make statements about, South Africa, apartheid. Why? Because you're a part of a traditionally oppressed group, for traditionally oppressed groups. You're obviously going to have some consistency with the idea of hating people for reasons that are ridiculous. Yeah, we're going to engage in prejudice against Nazis. That's cool. We're not going to engage in prejudice of gay people, so I don't know why he does it. This is a very toxic, disgusting culture within the black community, within the Muslim community, within the Indian community, within every person who's a part of a traditionally oppressed group constantly shits on gay people. it's nothing to be proud of. If you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, you're a Catholic, you're whatever you are, if you shit on gay people, you're a fucking moron. It's disgusting. There's nothing to be proud of. So we're going to clear that out. Now, the trans community, I remember there was stats. It was Trans Awareness Month. I think it was in 2020, trans awareness. One of the stats was, I think overall, like out of all the hate crimes or the deaths for trans people in 2019 or 2020, like over 90% of them, or over like 85% of them were black people. And they were being beaten and killed by their own people. Black people are part of a traditionally oppressed group. And we always complain about black people being killed and all this shit, and sarcastic terrorism that contributes to killing us, and messaging that contributes to killing us. And then black people who are homophobic want to engage in stochastic terrorism for gay people, including black people. I don't know, but in the same breath, you want to cry about police shooting you? Like, come on. Y'all are pathetic. Change that shit. Now, not only that, then we get the it moron, I'm going to stop cursing because I'm going to have to put a label on it now, but, you know, I wanted this to be more digestible to the younger crowd, but pardon my French as I'm a little bit frustrated about these fake informed people, but, you know, whatever. T.I. goes, you know, if Lil Nas can do whatever he does, then we can. No. You will not. Now, some people have this line of thinking, but they don't realize, right, that it's not the deontological idea, right? It's not deontology, it's consequentialism. We're identifying for principles and then we're moving forward with them. Not the idea of being able to broadcast what you want to broadcast. If that was the case, T.I., remember that Revolt conference you were at with Candace Owens and you were talking about her making light of issues that are problems? You are one of the people who be advocating about stuff. You wouldn't be in support of Nazis just broadcasting their views. You wouldn't be good with people who are like Candace Owens who enable white supremacy. You wouldn't be in support of her advocating her views just because it's for open discussion. Why? Because some of the lines of thinking that she grows into, that she makes light of, contributes to the harassment, the abuse, and the killing of black people. You realize that you're not that smart. Now, a person like T.I., he always tries to sound like he's smart. He always tries to be wordy. He tries to be, and it doesn't make any sense because regardless of how many words he throws out, when it comes to just basic things, it's obvious it's more like he thinks he's smart or he likes the idea of being smart and informed when he's not. This is more like demagoguery, it seems like he goes into. So the reality is this. If you're a black person and you don't like gay people, you're just like Nazis. You're just like white supremacists. You're just like all these disgusting people who, once you start getting a little bit more rights from the people who are who are benefiting in the social hierarchy, once you're a part of that group, you start capitulating to them and engaging in some of the more negative lines of thinking that pushes down other people. It used to happen in the past and it still happens. Why were light-skinned people not liking dark-skinned people who are black? Well, some of the hate that the black community has ingested is from white people, you know? You're a half-breed or some of the colorism that exists. That is a reflection of some internalized hate from white people, you know? Where black people don't even feel comfortable about the darkest tones of themselves or their own people. Where it's kind of disgusting, it's not attractive. In this instance, you have black people who, again, part of a traditionally oppressed group, just like gay people, who are not in support of homosexuality when there are gay black people. It needs to change. I don't know if it was a reference to Lil Nas X. I don't know what it was. And I don't know why T.I. decided to mention Lil Nas X. But even if it wasn't focused at Lil Nas X, it's still pertaining to homosexuality. And the reality is there is, when it comes to homosexuality in the hip hop community, we've had like exposure to it a lot. Well, not even a lot of exposure. I mean, well, it's been there. We've had people in the closet and all of that. But even more to an extent of trying to make it more open, like A lot of rappers and a lot of people, they're dressed in a skirt, they're dressed in something, like, and nobody harasses them. Unironically, oh man, now I'm thinking a little bit more. Unironically, whoa, man, this makes no sense. DaBaby at one point did a prop where he used to be in a diaper. And a lot of people in Charlotte had an issue with him. And a lot of people still got an issue with him because they thought that was gay. Why is this dude unironic? Like he can use some of these things as props, like when it can make him money for its exposure, but like you can't even identify if it's only a joke because he makes statements like that. It's pathetic. So long story short, if you're a part of what you do to your oppressed groups, if you're a part of a group and you harass another group that's oppressed for reasons like that, you're no better than them. You are a hypocrite. Not the idea of prejudice, the reason you're engaging in prejudice. This is like freedom of speech. We cannot be or the paradox. We cannot be tolerant of the intolerant. You don't do freedom of speech for the idea of freedom of speech. Now, many people do. We don't. People who are not morons don't. We don't advocate for people just spouting white supremacy or any of that. We try to take you to jail, or you get something that hinders you the ability to speak. Why? Because you're advocating for the annihilation of people because of their color. Hassan Campbell. Hassan Campbell is another guy who constantly spouts some. Hassan Campbell is more vague. Actually, I'm gonna link Spiritual Soul as well because he made statements like this as well, where they were talking about it was kind of victim blaming. Now, what people do in these examples, what people do is they end up changing the idea of they end up trying to victim blame the traditionally oppressed group. The idea is that you're not helping the situation if you're embracing who you are, because people are going to respond to you that way. But that's always been the case. Hey, black people, don't dress in a certain way because you're going to look like a hooligan and people are not going to give you a job. Hey, black people, don't have a certain name because this is like you're going to be looked at as you know, I'm not get a job. Hey, black people, perm your hair and destroy your scalp and have your ancestors or have your parents now not being able to grow their hair at all because they were trying to get accepted by white people who in the system had criteria for getting a job having straight hair, and in the past your hair being uncivilized. Like we've had this happening before with black people. Hassan Campbell and them are saying that, hey, you should be telling these people who are gay, hey, y'all shouldn't be embracing this. Don't embrace this because, you know, Lil Nas making y'all gay. Or Lil Nas, he's making it worse for y'all. Because the people who are part of the group who don't make it acceptable, they're going to harass you if you start acting like who you are. Now, most gay people aren't like flamboyant or out there. Many times, some people try to use PDA to justify them not liking the homosexual. They use PDA as a proxy for their homophobia. So they're not going to approach it from the perspective of it being gay. They're going to say, oh, well, hold on, bro. Don't do that because other people don't like when you do that. Well, hold on. So the idea should be trying to get people to be accepted towards, is it the PDA or is it gay people engaging in PDA? Usually it's about gay people engaging in PDA, and they're using the PDA as a proxy for the homophobia, implying that they need to hide some of who they are, otherwise you'll get hurt. This is not the case. This has happened with women in the past. Hey, women, you guys doing this feminism, y'all need to stop, right? Women, y'all shouldn't be dressing the way y'all do because men are gonna be out here raping y'all. You know, you can't act a certain way and then be mad when a dude wants to rape you. Well, hold on. Why do I need to dress in a certain way? Me dressing a certain way doesn't warrant a guy to have sex with me, right? The idea is that the men, that biological imperative or whatever urge they have is something that's acceptable, and you should be trying to modify. The idea is you're a problem and you need to change parts of yourself as opposed to the people interacting with you being the problem and having to fix themselves. This situation is not about PDA of gay people. It's about homosexuality. T.I., you got a whole bunch of problems. You shouldn't be making these statements. Hassan Campbell, you are a man who unironically came out talking about African Bubata molested you. And owning that. I don't know how you unironically can make statements later on in the future about the industry and the devil catching people because they're acknowledging homosexuality. That is wild, because the people who are straight, the heterosexual people, the heteronormative society, I'm pretty sure that's the right term, or where in the social hierarchy it's more acceptable for men to like women. The whole idea is that they don't appreciate homosexuality. But the idea is you're not supposed to victim blame the gay people. You're supposed to make the heterosexual people to have some accountability for what they play into and not being homophobes. You wouldn't tell black people to try and make an effort to be more like white people. You tell them to embrace themselves, and you tell the white people to change their line of thinking. You wouldn't tell people who are Islamophobes to stop praising Allah and stop saying Allahu Akbar if something were to go on, or to celebrate or not celebrate the Hajj anymore, or stop celebrating Eid Mubarak. You wouldn't tell the Muslim people to stop doing that. You'd be telling the people who are the Islamophobes to stop playing into some of the terrorizing of them. So why is it different with homosexuality and black people? There's no consistency there. So DaBaby, the whole victim blaming, Spiritual Soul did it too, because he was like, yo, gay people, Lil Nas ain't helping y'all. No. Rap music in general is full of disgusting PDA, womanizing, and all of this. And y'all say nothing about it. Nothing. Y'all love that. Women talk about this too. But as soon as a woman like Lil Meg Thee Stallion, or a woman talks about a dude and their little and quote unquote dick and all that, it's a problem. But y'all got nothing when the mainstream rap is nothing but sex, money, and drugs. Make it make sense. Have some consistency. So, that was my rant on, DaBaby and the fact that he made some news headlines over his comments pertaining to not being in support of homosexuality. Because it's impossible for him to just be referring to the homosexuality, to the PDA. It was definitely about the homosexuality. And even if he didn't mean it that way, people like T.I. came behind him and agreed. Well, so it's obvious that even if there are going to be different interpretations of what your view is or what you said, and there are going to be different ways to take it, you as a person should come out and be clear about what your view was. He's not going to say anything about it, because the reality is that's what he was talking about. So I do agree with some of the lines of thinking that DaBaby had for these kids in the past. I don't agree with this shit. This is just disgusting. Hassan Campbell, Spiritual Soul, all of you people who are always so informed about educating people and improving the well-being of people and letting people know to love. How are you spreading love to people who are kind of your own people when you support statements from DaBaby and the T.I.? You don't. You're not. You're not an ally. You're not with black people. You're not with trans people. You're not with gay people. You are just on your own. And you contribute to more problems. So I hope I don't hear none of you niggas or none of you people talking about the rights of black people and police brutality, because you are taking one step forward and two steps back. So if you're a homophobe, you're a transphobe, you do not support the LGBT plus community, but you support Black Lives Matter or whatever, you're not different. Or you're a hypocrite. It's disgusting. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Please, if you're gonna leave a comment, please make it make sense. I know a lot of people, y'all like to say a lot of shit and you like to make comments, but it's never something of substance. If you're gonna make a comment, please make it make sense. and you're probably not going to be able to engage in the detail was cool. But please, you know, my YouTube channel is meant for conversation, you know, not loaded nonsense where people can't like explain their views. Like, come on, like. So the comments shouldn't be filled with like insults and so on and so forth. The comments should be filled with maybe some statements that people can expand on. It probably won't, but I figured I might as well say it. Like, comment, subscribe. DaBaby, you're a bozo for that. Hassan Campbell, you're a bozo for that. T.I., you're a bozo for that. Social Soul, you're a bozo for that. Y'all are hypocrites. Contradictory. You're not as smart as you thought you were. Do better. Goofies.